Welcome to Lit Vibes Only, where we lit the shit out of books we love and hate. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Kelsey.
Yes, you are.
Welcome back here. Today we have a fun Lit Chats episode for you. But before we get into it, we want to redirect you yet again to our socials so that you can come hang out with us once you've listened to the episode. We are on Instagram at litvibesonly_podcast. And we are on TikTok at litvibesonly podcast. And our full length episodes are also on YouTube at Live Vibes Only Podcast. And always feel free to email us with your thoughts, perspectives, hot takes at litvibesonlypodcast@gmail.com. So
I always forget our email.
yeah, well, people aren't using it yet. So, but we're plugging it. So yeah. And always, please come rate and review the podcast, as that is the thing that helps us the most in getting traction and other listeners to see us. And so do that as well.
We can't stick around without that.
Yeah. Apple and Spotify. That would be lovely.
Thank you.
All right.
So excited for this lovely little chat today.
Yeah.
But before that, it's time for my weekly BookTok news update from Kelsey.
BookTok Tea.
This is your segment, the BookTok Tea with Kelsey.
So funny. Okay. So I was just telling Amanda, I don't have the full lowdown because the original video is deleted and stuff, and I haven't been able to find it. But yeah, because
scandalous already.
A hot take. But anyway, the fact that, so this is coming out in March, but we are recording in February, and it is still Black History Month. And there is rage bait happening around Black History Month and Black authors. And so somebody said, I don't even know who the original video is from, but somebody said that they were like, I don't like reading Black authors because I can't relate to the content in the books.
Oh my God.
And then also someone said, and I think it was the same person, but someone said, oh yeah, because also there's so much trauma in those books by Black authors.
Oh,
so
this
is the first time that Amanda is hearing this.
This is appalling.
Yeah. So yeah. There's there's a lot of conversation happening around why you read Black authors or authors from different perspectives than your own. And then also just the issues around.
Well, it's just such a privileged thing to say. Right.
100%.
To be able to be well, this has no impact on me and it doesn't affect me and I don't understand it. Whereas everyone else has to understand white culture and how to be white and how to move through this world in order to survive and get by and be successful. We don't have the option. And so for you to be I can't relate to it. It means nothing to me. I'm that's also so selfish. Where is your empathy? Where is your curiosity? Where is your desire to learn and understand and connect? Yeah. It is, that's just so outrageous.
Reading is such a great way to do that too. And also it's a safe way to do it because you're just doing it by yourself. You're just reading on your own.
However you need to.
And you don't have to make videos about it or anything. You just you just get to read it and then be oh yeah, I didn't like that. Or yeah, I did like that.
Or let me process this.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that makes me really infuriated is the bit about oh, their books are full of trauma. I'm oh yeah. Why don't you stop for a moment and think about why that might be the case? Where might this trauma be coming from?
Good question.
Oh my God. It's a good thing. I just dip my toes into the world of TikTok because
BookTok drama.
I think I get too overly invested and be what? I mean, they're accomplishing the goal that they have if it's rage bait because I'm just rage.
What is the other point of that? It's just someone. Yeah.
I
don't know.
They're dicks.
Exactly. And so if you didn't know, Amanda and I kind of split up social media in a way where I mostly monitor TikTok and she mostly monitors Instagram in comments sections. And so she'll watch more Instagram videos than I do. And I'll watch more TikTok videos than she does.
Yes.
That kind of was a natural thing.
I feel like Bookstagram is kinder than BookTok. I mean, I feel like BookTok is a lovely community as well, I'm sure. But I just feel like I don't come across as much controversy on
Yeah.
Bookstagram, whereas BookTok, it feels like that's where like chaos happens occasionally, maybe more
The
than
only,
occasionally.
yeah, no, I think rage bait is definitely a huge trigger for videos to become popular on
Mm.
Book Talk. And so that for sure is a tactic that people will use. Gosh, who is that woman that does the whiteboard stuff
Brit,
on
is it Brit in her
Instagram?
books? I think it's Brit in her books.
Those are the
Those
only
are
Instagram
hilarious.
ones I will watch. Oh my God, I fucking love that account.
She's so funny and like does not care. She will just say whatever
Oh
she needs
yeah,
to say and
no.
I has
She's
no
like,
filter.
fuck off then. Like in the comments, I've seen her say stuff like that. I'm
Yeah.
like, yes.
She does
Cause
not have time.
she'll be like, she'll have her, this is where the side of like social media we should stay on. But she goes and says like, what is it called? Book recommendations I
Mhm.
don't want from people.
People that I don't want book recommendations
Yes.
from. Yeah.
And a lot of them have to do like, one was like when she had this white person getting like
Oh,
braids
braids. I
that like
saw
often
that.
black women wear. And
Yeah.
she was like, no, thank you. And then someone was like, this is really awful that you're just stereotyping one person because of this. And she's like, fuck off. And I was like, yes. Yeah, it was so great. It was so great.
Don't even engage. Just
I
like
want
shut it
to.
down and move on.
Yes, I want to like and have some of that energy in our page.
Oh
Oh,
my
yes, it's
gosh.
so great. So
Wow.
great. Anyway,
Speaking of book
tangents.
talk, no, it's actually not a tangent because like book talk will actually lead really beautifully into this topic, which we're going to be talking about like
Oh yeah.
bookstores today. And book talk has like played a really pivotal role, I think. I don't have like a ton of proof necessarily to back this up, but it feels like book talk has played a really pivotal role in helping to bolster the independent like book seller community, right? And making sure that like their doors are staying open.
Oh, totally. But not even just independent bookstores. Like Barnes and Noble even
Yeah.
was like on a downward
Yeah.
spiral and they were
Yeah.
closing stores. And
Mm-hmm.
what was it this year? They're opening like 60 or something.
Yeah. They're
So
like,
yeah.
yeah.
And
It's
go ahead.
well, I was gonna say the other thing that's so funny is that book talk has become legitimized in the sense that if you go to bookstores now, even on
yeah.
Amazon, actually, it'll be like this book is like recommended by Book Talk, right? It'll have like the Book Talk stamp of approval.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's a little wild if you think about it, right? Because it really just started off as a group of, folks just like us, like reading books and stating their opinions and creating this community.
Yeah.
And now people are like looking to Book Talk, right? To determine
Yes.
like what's the next big read and what should I be reading?
Honestly, like that's where I get a lot of my
I know, for you especially, it's like
Rex. I'll be like, they'll say one sentence about it. I'm like, that sounds good. I don't even read about it. I just like pick it up.
I'm trying to think like, where do I get my book recs from? Because it's not from Book Talk. I feel like it's sometimes from Bookstagram. I feel like I've gotten quite a few from Book Huddle. She's an Instagrammer, but also I will find lists of book recommendations on like through different social media accounts that aren't necessarily like on Bookstagram proper. I know like Betches, which is like a
yeah. Books and Betches, you mean?
No,
or
not Books
different?
and Betches, just Betches.
Oh.
And they'll like every now and then they'll post like a list of like books to read and I'll always scroll through those.
Oh, funny. Yeah.
But or just like word of mouth. Like I just got Ninth House not that long ago from like a fellow book lover that I'm friends with. And she's like, I know it's fantasy, but I think you would like it. So I picked it up. So
there's another like Indian girl Bookstagram that I follow. And I'm like, ooh, I could read that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and literally, like I was just on Instagram this morning and I just actually posted about it on our Instagram. She's like another historical fiction girly and I was talking about an author I'd never heard of. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like right up my alley. And I just added one of their books to my TBR. And I'm like,
there you go.
That's what happens. But
your TBR has been getting longer and longer.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books, not including the one I'm currently reading, stacked up on my coffee table that I need to read. And that is my like physical TBR. It's not my like Libby Holds TBR or like my longer Goodreads TBR. Like,
yeah, I was always curious, like how people talk about their TBR, like when they're talking about physical TBR, TBR. Is that what they're saying? Like, oh, this is my TBR, or are they talking about like their Goodreads TBR?
Because like their Goodreads, because that's like all of the books currently on my coffee table, aside from the one that you gave me for my birthday, are like on my TBR.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
except for Iron Flame and A Court of Wings and Ruin, because that's I have to
I mean,
read.
now
But
it is.
yeah, I guess. So I guess, yeah. But yeah, they're all books that are on my legitimate TBR, which is my Goodreads.
Okay.
I keep
Yeah.
track of everything.
Or yeah. Anyway.
Yes,
We'll
yes.
get moving
But
on.
bookstores. So today's all about bookstores. We're going to talk about like what we love in bookstores, what we look for, and we're also going to, we're in Seattle, we're in the PNW, so we're also going to highlight a couple of Seattle bookstores for those who are either in the area or who might be visiting soon. And then we have one that is not in Seattle, but that is in, again, the larger PNW area.
PNW.
Yeah. But before we get started with the things that we look for, I do have a confession to make.
Oh my God.
Which might surprise people because, we are book podcasters. We both love to read, like books are a thing, but I don't go to bookstores often. And I feel a little bad saying that out loud because it makes me feel like, oh my gosh, I must not be a truly good book person. But like my reason for not going, quite simply, is, well, two reasons. One, if I go to a bookstore, I'm going to be compelled to buy too many books, and I financially cannot just support that habit. Two is I find it, I don't know if anybody else can speak to this. This might just be because I'm an anxious person. I find bookstores anxiety inducing. Because and it's why I have a love-hate relationship with them, because part of me is like, oh my God, so many books, how exciting. And part of me is like, oh my God, so many books, I'm never going to get to all of them. Like, I feel so overwhelmed. Where do I even start? I find it very overstimulating in a way. Because I'm just like, there's so much here. There's so many amazing stories, and I'm never going to get to them all. And I've told people that. I've said this for years and years and years, and they're all like, okay, Amanda. But it's true. And then I take out my phone because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to buy all of these books. And then I'm just adding so many books to my Goodreads TBR. And I leave with like 20 new books. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I'm never going to. So I just want to like preface that all by saying that I'm not somebody who goes to bookstores often as much as I appreciate them. I tend to go to them more often when I'm traveling because I love seeing new bookstores and and their layout and things. But did want to just like preface all of that by saying sometimes I kind of avoid them, to be honest.
Amanda. Wow.
Oh, the shame.
That all makes a lot of sense though. It's so funny though, but you talk about your spending habit, like you're like, I have to avoid this. And a lot of book talk is just about like, oh, just bought some new books, even though I'm on a book buying ban. Like there's like no support in that area. No, everyone's kind of just like, no self-control. Oh yeah, I'll just buy whatever I need. I have no self-control either.
Well, because that's the other thing too, is like, and we've talked about this before, I think, on here. Like, I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. Like, if I bought books at the rate I read them, it would look like an episode of Hoarders in here. Like it just like it's not sustainable.
What's the date today? It's February 23rd. And Amanda, tell us how many books you've read so far this year already.
I think 17 or 18. It's not that many.
No, you've been reading so much recently. It's been great. But yeah, you would have a library very soon.
Yeah. I would just be like, as much as I would love that, I would love to have a library, but I have no space. And I'm also, since I'm not a rereader, it's like they would just be there for show after I read them. Like I'm not going to go back and reread them. So it's not really practical for me. But
I really do like reading and like referencing books.
Yeah.
Or just like,
yeah.
One thing that I do that isn't very typical of like book talkers is I don't like buying an unfinished series. Because I do want them all to match. Yeah. And also, what if they have like a really great like special edition when it's all done? Yeah. And like, what am I supposed to do? Like have all these
just have multiple. Yeah. Like, I feel like people do that.
People do. But like, I haven't bought ACOTAR because of that. And I haven't bought Fourth Wing because of that.
I thought ACOTAR was finished. Is it not done?
No, it's not.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Another book is coming out like 2026.
Oh Lord.
And it's likely going to be about Elaine.
Oh, so it's not following, what's her name? Feyre?
No, I think like Feyre's series is done, like the 3.
Oh, so it's kind of like, okay. So
and then it's an extension. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. All right.
Wings and Ruin, the one that you have right now.
Yeah. That's the end of Feyre's story.
That, not the end, but it's a natural wrap up. But she's in the other books.
Okay, but not
Yeah,
as the main
but
character.
not as the main character.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay.
Because
Well,
Nesta's the main character of the
oh
book after.
yes.
But there is that novella where I guess she is the main
Right.
character, but
Okay.
it's a novella.
Well, yeah, I do have
Did I
Aquawar
just
on
shatter?
my. No, I'm looking at Aquawar because I got it from my friend Anna, and it's just so freaking long, and I'm like, oh, I wanna.
It is long,
I'm
but it is. I
so.
think you're gonna like it more, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I
We'll
might
see.
save it
We'll
for
see.
another school break. I might wait to dive into it
Yeah.
then. But I think I'm going to read Iron Flame within the next couple of weeks because it's here and it's shorter. And I don't want the details from the first book to leave my mind. So, but anyhow,
And then we'll do our
we keep
episode on
going
that.
off on tangents.
We
Okay,
do.
so let's talk about like our ideal bookstore, like what we look for in a bookstore that makes us
Mm-hmm.
happy. I can see from our list, like there's definitely
It's
some
pretty much the
overlap. It's pretty
same.
similar. I think the only thing that's different from
Yeah.
mine, which is the one I'll start with, is like for me, I enjoy bookstores that are like airy and open and spacious. And I know you're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, that's kind of a random thing to say, but have you ever been in like one of those little, I don't know, kind of mom and pop kind of bookstores where
Yeah.
it's just you're cramped in there. There's books on the floor. The aisles are narrow. Everyone's on top of each other. Like I am claustrophobic. And when
Oh.
I'm in stores like that, I know some people might find it like cute and cozy and cluttered. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, get me out of here. I can't actually enjoy browsing because I feel like I'm suffocating. And so then I don't want to dawdle, right? I'm like
Yeah.
in and out. So I think for me, like it aisles and it's well lit and there are
Mm-hmm.
windows and higher ceilings, like then I'm like, oh, okay. Like I can take a moment because I have been, and this is usually for like used bookstores, I think more so than ones that
Mm-hmm.
focus on like new books. I'm sure you've been in them too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about. It's
Yeah.
just like it kind of feels like a room in your grandmother's house, right? And it's just like kind
Yes.
of musty. And right. There's kind of stuff everywhere. The organization isn't super great.
Yeah.
Not for me.
I I also am not a huge fan of used bookstores
Yeah.
because they do feel like that. And like the whole stacking of books on the floor, I'm like,
Oh my
I don't
God.
get that.
No.
I'm
Who's gonna go
sorry,
down
like
there and look
I'm
for
not gonna
that?
go sifting through them
No.
just looking for random books.
Yeah.
So I partially agree. I don't need them
Yeah.
to have like wide open spaces and things like
Yeah.
that. That's nice,
Yeah.
but I definitely don't like the stacked books or like that feeling that you get when
Or just like the narrow aisles that bothers me. Cause like, especially if there's multiple
I could
people
do
in there, you
that.
just kind of feel like you're all on top of each other. I don't know. That's a me thing. I'm just like, no, like I need space.
But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But one thing we
I get
do
what you're
have in
saying.
common is like employee recommendations. Love
Oh,
them.
yes.
Especially because like as I mentioned, I get overwhelmed sometimes in bookstores. So
Mhm.
having those little notes and things helps to narrow my focus. And I'm like, all right, let me just
Totally.
kind of focus on these books, see what they had to say. And,
I sometimes wish they had fewer in the
oh,
bookstore,
interesting. Okay.
actually,
Okay.
like employee recommendations, because I want to read all of them
Yeah.
and I can't read 50 of them.
Right.
You know, what I also like is sometimes that is a display, but then
Mm-hmm.
a huge display, but
They'll do
then
the tags.
also they'll do the smaller
Yep.
tags like
Yep.
within the bookshelves
Yes.
itself. That
Yeah.
those ones I really like because then I'm like, oh, I was looking at
Yeah.
this book. What are they saying about it? Like,
That's
yeah.
that's what I was referring to. It's like I
Oh,
like the
okay.
tags more than the displays. Like here's what our
Yeah.
employees are reading. Because yeah,
Yeah.
they're kind of sprinkled throughout. And generally there's a little paragraph that
Mhm.
accompanies it that's like, here's why I liked it and here's what
Exactly.
you can expect from this book. And it just, I don't know,
Mhm.
it's such a personal thing. And
Yeah.
you feel like you're just like book buds and you can find folks with
Yeah.
similar tastes.
I do like that. Yeah.
So I really love when bookstores have those.
Mhm.
And then I think also we both said this too, just having places to sit and read. And I know not every
Yes.
bookstore can
A
accommodate for
comment.
this because
Yeah.
it's, you're paying for square footage and a bigger
Mhm.
space, but it's nice, especially if you're book browsing, to like sit down and maybe go through a couple pages and read through it to see if it's something you want to invest in or yeah, revisit a book that you
Mhm.
already love that you haven't picked up
Yeah.
in a while because it also feels more like a library and I love libraries. So that's
Yes.
a big one
I agree.
for me.
I feel like, yeah, I want bookstores to feel like
Yeah.
libraries. You know,
Same.
like you can come
Yeah.
in, study, or
Mhm.
meet with people, or
Mhm.
read,
Mhm.
or,
Yeah. Just like bask in the bookishness.
yeah, I really love that. I just went to a giant library And it was somewhat like that. But in Mexico City, if you ever go, it's this, like, seriously, they probably have 1 million books in there. And it was massive. And the shelves were like hanging above you. And you had to like climb up on these stairs. And then they had like maybe seven different floors. Wow. And you go up and then you can see all of the books. And there's like giant space in the middle and like both sides. Like, yeah, it was just magnificent.
It looks crazy from the pictures you posted.
And there were tons of areas to sit and read or study or do whatever you're doing. Yeah.
Do you remember the name of it?
Yes. Biblioteca.
Okay. I was like, aside from the word for library.
La Biblioteca Vasconcelos. And it is in Ciudad de Mexico. And you can visit there, and it doesn't cost anything to visit. You can just go and check things out.
Amazing. Yeah. Part of it reminded me of the top floor of the Seattle Public Library, like the main one downtown. Because just like the structure and like the architecture of it reminded me a bit of that. But yeah, I love a good library. Oh my gosh. I appreciate, I was like, do I like libraries more than bookstores? I was like, no, I think I love them equally because they offer different things. But I remember even when I was looking for a college back when I was in high school, one of my number one criteria when I was, going to do these campus visits was like the library. Like if it had a bad library, I was like, nope, not even going to consider this college.
Where did you go to college? Do I even know?
Probably not. It was when I went, it was called Mount Union College. It was like this teeny tiny, like 2,000 person liberal arts college in Ohio. Okay. And then it's now the University of Mount Union. So it's a bit bigger, but it's super teeny. And like their library was good, but I mainly went because I got a scholarship. So I was like,
you're like, but if the library sucks, I'm not taking the money.
No. No, I definitely would have at that point. But yeah, libraries I love. But the last thing that I had in common, and you can mention the one thing that you had that was different, or well, actually I agree with this as well. I just didn't put it on my list. That in addition to having like places to sit, it is also nice if there's like an adjoining cafe. And then that way, you can grab some friends, grab your latest read, grab a hot beverage and a snack and stay for a while, especially in Seattle, right? Because we have these gray, wet winters where you're not necessarily going to want to be outside, although you could. And so finding places to curl up with a book other than your couch is just really nice.
Yes.
So it's
or bed.
Or your bed. Yes, exactly. Yeah, your bed or your reading chair. So I really love when, again, not every bookstore can accommodate for that, but when they can, I think that's just such a lovely addition.
And just makes me want to stay longer. So I'm
exactly.
Like, I got food,
and like buy more things.
Cafe.
Exactly. It's a good business model.
I could see this going places, Amanda, for us.
As in we're going to start a bookstore
or like bookstore. And on one side of the bookstore would be Amanda's Rex. And then the other side is Kelsey's Rex. And it's like completely different, like decorations where,
and then we have a boxing ring in the middle where we just like go to town once a month. We don't actually fight. We just sit in it and we like
chat.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it'd be so fun. But I like read your other bullet point because I like this one too.
Yeah. So I think one thing that Elliott Bay does really well, and we're going to highlight that bookstore in a bit, but they highlight like very different perspectives and authors like very well. And they do like, those monthly themes, but I think it goes beyond that too, where they have very specific section. They have a queer section. You're going to find like just about anything there, but they're also putting that to the forefront too. It's not just like, they're just like trickled in to. Did
you say trickled?
Trickled into the sections.
Trickled.
There's another Kelseyism. So trickled into.
It's like a mix of trickle and sprinkle. It's trickled.
Oh, there you go. I'm just going to say that now.
Important word. Go ahead.
It's actually at the forefront, and they'll have like their displays that showcase these different books, and they don't have a section like found on TikTok. Because also I think that it's not doing, I don't know, maybe they are making a lot of sales for that, but like I don't come to a bookstore to just find books from BookTok, right? The ones that are popular. I go to bookstores to see what else is out there, right? And if those are the only ones highlighted, then those are the only ones that are going to be read. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I really love it when a bookstore is going
Yeah.
beyond that and going beyond the trends and
It's
highlighting.
interesting that you mentioned that though, because one of my friends sent me a video maybe last month about Barnes Nobles and how they are kind of seeing this like uptick in patronage and customers. And one of the things they mentioned in there was the fact that, you know, BookTok is really helping with that. And so a lot of bookstores are creating displays, right, around what's trending on BookTok and what's trending on social media to get people in. And it's, I mean, it's working, right? And a lot of people are visiting for those reasons. But yeah, I think it's important to go beyond that. And I agree that Elliott Bay does a really good job of just in general having like, they have a very diverse collection. Like they carry books that I think some other places might not, especially depending on what state you're in or community. And so, yeah, that's super important. And, you know, a big part of what we want to do here on the podcast too. And it's why we have like our book recs episodes each month as well, because we want folks to read, you know, different perspectives and diverse authors. Are there any other things that we love about bookstores? I feel like those are the main ones for me. That's going to like make me.
I think those are the main ones. And then even just like, being able to, because Seattle is a big city. However, like I frequent places like Elliott Bay. Like I don't know people yet there, but there is another bookshop that I go to where I know the woman. And I just think that having that, what is it, familiarity around the workers there or even the actual owners with their customers. I really love that when relationship, bookstores do that, or they're just like having meaningful relationships with their customers.
Yeah. And I think going off of that too, like for me, a big thing with bookstores is proximity. So one of the reasons why I love Elliott Bay is not because it's like a great book. I mean, it is a great bookstore. It's not just that. It's also like, it's so convenient for me. Like I can literally walk there from where I work. And so I can go there before after work or like during a long break and pick up a book or meet someone after work for some tea in their cafe and a chat.
Or photo sesh.
Or a photo session for a podcast. We did do, we did our promo photos at Elliott Bay. But yeah, so proximity is a big thing. And one thing, Seattle's an interesting city because, I mean, it's not massive, but it's you know, a sizable city, but it's broken up into a series of like really distinct neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And so each of those neighborhoods has like their local bookshop or bookstore, which I love. And even though I don't live in Cap Hill, I work there. And so it feels kind of like, oh, this is one of my neighborhood like bookstores. And just having that connection, like you said, and familiarity is really important. I think
one last thing is a lot of bookstores do this, but having events for authors to come, I think is really, really fun. I was so upset because Penn Cole, the author of Spark of the Other Flame, came to... Actually, I don't know if you knew this, but Third Place Books is owned by Elliott Bay. They're the same owners.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And Third Place Books had her talk last week, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so going!"
And then you were gone.
I was in Mexico City, and I was so upset.
Poor timing.
I was so upset.
She'll probably be back.
Because she's definitely an author I want to see, and she is well known. But like our local bookstores will have authors like that. And I love that when they do that.
I have another confession to make. I've never been to an author book talk ever. That's just never happened. Like I've gone to presentations and speeches by people who have written books, especially at conferences. Yeah. You know, and I've gone to like kind of hear authors talk about their work in that sense, but I've never gone to like a bookstore like that had, you know, an author coming in and giving a talk and then doing a book signing. Like I've never done that in like an intimate setting, which would be cool to do.
I have, but it's been a while. But one of the ones that I have gone to, which was partially because he's a celebrity, but Rainn Wilson actually.
Oh yeah, and he's from here.
Yeah, he wrote the book. What was it called? Boom, Soul Boom or something like that. He came to Seattle. And yeah, he's from here and grew up. Yeah. Oh my God, it was like wild to think. But anyway, that was like, it was a book talk, but it also like, you know, because he's a celebrity, he talked about some other things too. Yeah, cool. Soul Boom is what it's called.
He's fun. I follow
those are more recent ones I went to.
Yeah, I need to add that to my bucket list to try and do a book talk this year. Okay.
We should do.
Yeah, we should go together and then we can like tell people we're going.
I hated it. And Amanda loved it.
We have to find an author. Do we have an author that we both mutually like? I don't know. Well, we both liked, well, she's not alive anymore, but we both liked Kindred.
Oh yeah.
And we both, for the most part, liked Kennedy Ryan from last month as well.
Yeah. If Ijeoma ever does a talk,
oh, that
like,
would be cool. Yeah, we would
one of
definitely
hers.
go to that. Yeah, for sure. For sure. We'll put it on our bucket list for this year. So what we want to do as well, like we mentioned before, is take a little bit of time just to highlight a couple of, again, local and PNW based bookstores. Again, for folks who both are listening and live in this area, and for folks who, might find yourself in this neck of the woods. So we have 2 larger bookstores and then 2 that are a bit more niche. And we're going to start with the bookstore you hear about so much on this podcast from us, which is the Elliott Bay Book Company. It's here in Seattle. It's in Cap Hill. And I learned a little bit more about its background as I was preparing for this episode. So it started back in the 70s in 1973. And a lovely man named Walter Carr started it. And he actually, for those of you who are familiar with the Seattle area, it started out in Pioneer Square, so not Cap Hill. And then in 2010, they relocated everything over to Cap Hill where it is now.
Wild.
It's crazy.
I heard that it was much bigger down in Pioneer Square.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Yeah.
So they downsized a bit, but it's still, I mean, the Elliott Bay book company, it's still quite a sizable store. Even now. Totally. It's not like you're like a little kind of hole in the wall store at all. Very spacious.
And open, not many windows.
There, just along the front, I guess. Yeah. Actually, I think there's windows in the cafe on the backside. There's one. Yeah.
There's like 2, I think.
There's natural light. And the cool thing about Elliott Bay Book Company is that now, even though it was founded by a man, it's now both a woman-owned and a queer-owned business. So like, we love that.
Very cool.
And like we said, has not only a diverse collection of books, but a very large selection. They carry around 150,000 titles, which is
a
lot.
So wild.
So you can find pretty much anything there. Yeah. Like, it's like library sized.
And if they don't have it, you can order it through them.
So that's, I'm glad you pointed that out, because like, in addition to it having like their brick and mortar collection, they also have a website that you can order books through as well. If they don't have them in store. And like all of the books that I pre-ordered it like online through their website. And then another cool thing, this ties into what we were just talking about. Yeah. Like almost daily, they host like author reading series as well. So it's also a hub for the community as well. So they've got events going on all the time. And it's just, very much a space to connect and, meet other bookish folks.
A funny thing too, I've seen multiple times because, oh God, I love going to Elliott Bay, is that they host a coffee tasting at Elliott Bay. I think it's like one of those where they have a relationship with someone that does the tour. And so they come in and they'll have these like people sitting around that big table in the cafe and they'll be like tasting their coffee. Yeah. And they go off to their next place.
I will say though, one of the things that is a little frustrating about Elliott Bay is that it is so hard to get a seat in their cafe.
Absolutely.
I have actually never been to I've walked into it, and every single time I've gone to like find a spot, I've literally never been able to get a seat. So I don't know if my timing is just poor.
It's probably the timing. Yeah.
Cause I'm going after school. And so it's like, I don't know, like 3:15, 3:30. So I guess people are still like doing work from home type stuff. And also,
or kids, I don't know. Older kids are getting off.
No, but there's just never seats.
Yeah. I would say Saturdays and Sundays are really hard, but then like Friday evenings are pretty quiet.
That would make sense. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense for you to like be there. So anyway, I would say, those are the times that we
have had success.
But yeah, they could definitely use like an expansion.
We love Elliott Bay. Like I said, we did our promo photos there. And so if you're in the area or visiting, and it's also like in the heart of Cap Hill too. So if you are visiting, it's like, oh, you're already in Cap Hill anyway. Like stop by and snag a book. Support a local bookstore. Okay, cool. The next one.
Well, I'm going to be highlighting Powell's City of Books.
Woohoo!
Which is located in Portland, Oregon. And this is like a really famous bookstore, even across the country. It is larger than Elliott Bay, much larger.
By a lot.
But like you said, it is not in Seattle. It is in Portland, Oregon, which is not too far from us. And anytime I go down there, I like to go to
Oh, of course.
At least one of their locations. But this particular one we are highlighting is the largest of their locations and the original, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they're located in the Pearl District, opened in 1971. So similar to Elliott Bay.
Yeah,
They've been
2
around
years
for
apart.
quite a while. I wonder what it was about the 70s.
The 70s. Everyone was like, let's buy books.
Yeah. So this is a third generation family owned business that is now being run by Emily Powell, which is just, that's wild. It's just like stayed in the family. That's insane. Yeah. She's the granddaughter of the founder, Michael Powell. It is the largest used and new bookstore in the world.
Yep. It's crazy. It occupies an entire city block. Yeah, that's like one of the reasons why it's like.
I did know it was an entire city block, but that okay, largest bookstore in the wow. I am just
used
like
and new though, like
that
used and new bookstore. I think that's the important thing. There's probably like a larger, just like new bookstore. Yeah, new bookstore. Yeah.
So yeah, and it's occupying an entire city block and housing approximately 1 million books.
Yep.
Which
is crazy
because a shit ton of books there. It's
Elliott Bay is 150,000, which we think that's a lot.
That is
like
a lot. 1 million. But yeah, I get it because if you've ever been to Powell's,
oh god,
it is a maze for one.
It is.
And there's like different sections, and it's so wild because I was looking for specifically when I was there last. I was looking for what is it called? Dang it. It is a really popular Zodiac Academy. Okay.
Oh yeah. I've heard of
Zodiac Academy. And it has like 12, 15 books, whatever. And I thought I was going to find it like really quickly, but they were like, oh, it's in our romance section, but in the romance section, they have all these different sections in it where it's like paranormal and like dark romance. Like it is wild. And it's like at least 3 different areas, right? Like shelves or whatever. Rows is what I want to say for just that one genre and all of the subgenres. And then you go into a completely different room and then you're in like historical fiction or if fantasy is a completely different section. And it's just like, it's wild. And then there's children's books, there's technical books, there's everything under the sun there.
Well, to your point, it has 9 different color-coded rooms. And within those, there are over 3,500 different sections. Just like let that number wash over you. 3,500 sections.
Yes.
Like it's insane. I remember when I went.
It's wild.
Speaking of anxiety inducing, I was like, oh my good Lord. Like I physically don't know where to start. Like where to even begin to wander through this massive building. Yeah. And it's difficult finding things, but they also do the employee recs, which I love.
Yeah. And then also just highlighting one last, like not important detail, but like side note about them is that they have a one of a kind rare book room. Did you go to it or have you ever been to it?
Did you?
No, I've actually never seen it.
I know. It's very rare. It's just tucked away somewhere.
Can't even find it. Which would not be surprising because it is a maze. But there was something else I wanted to say about Powell's, but now I forgot.
Oh no. Well, maybe it'll come to you. But I would say, if you are in the PNW, if you're in Portland and you're a book lover, like you can't not go to Powell's. Yes. I remember the very first time I went to Portland, that was like one of the number one reasons why I was going was to check out the bookstore. But definitely give yourself at minimum an hour, like at minimum, just to like get the lay of the land. If you actually want to browse, give yourself like half a day or several hours. Like for real though.
For real though.
Yeah.
Joking.
No, it takes forever, especially if you want to go to every section.
That was the other thing I was going to say too, is that I'll go to the bookstores with my husband, but like I should really go to bookstores by myself because I'm never ready to leave the bookstore. Like it's never, that's never, I'm done. I just like peruse and peruse and peruse and peruse, be like, oh, this book sounds cool. Oh, what about this book? And just like read the backs of all of them and just find new things. Yeah. I love doing that. And I can do that for hours.
Of course.
Like maybe you and I should just go down to Powell sometime. And
we would just spend the day. Days later, Cesar would be like, have you seen this woman? Like buried in the stack somewhere. Like
we'll find us in the rare book.
Like our hair's a mess. We're just like haven't eaten.
We're like, okay, here's the first 3 hours. Go do what you want, and then we go to lunch and then go back.
Yeah.
It'd be so fun.
It would be so fun. We should just do
But
like a Lit Vibes only book road
Yep.
trip like down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really wild and is certainly, I want to say it's the largest bookstore I've ever personally been in. I don't think I've ever been in a larger one.
Bookstore, yes. Library, no.
No, yeah.
I was just talking about that library. I was surprised too, though. There were bookstores everywhere in the city of
You mentioned that.
Mexico City. Sorry, I was like talking in Spanish.
The city of Mexico.
Yeah. Around every corner. Like I'd be like,
yeah.
and Sasadio would look at me and he'd be like, another one. And I'd be like,
it's like DJ Khaled, another one.
I actually just put down these books that I bought in Mexico City. I'm so excited about them.
I can't believe you bought Bride.
Your favorite.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Anyhow.
But now there's going to be a second one. And now I'm like, oh, great. Now it's a series. And I already bought the first one in the series.
You knew that already because we talked about it on the podcast.
I forgot. I was like, I want it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, well. Anywho.
Yes. So yes, Powell's is amazing. Elliott Bay is amazing. But we also wanted to take time to highlight 2 lesser known and smaller bookstores that they're a bit more niche and have something a little different to offer and kind of stand out from the bookstore world in their own special ways. So Kelsey's got one and then I've got one as well.
So also situated in Capitol Hill is Twice Sold Tales. And Amanda, you've never been here?
I've never been. I've literally dropped people off to go there, but I've never been inside.
You're like, bye, peace. So the cool thing about Twice Sold Tales, it is a used bookstore and does have that thing going on, where it has stacks.
I know. I saw through the window and I was like, don't need to go in there.
But it also has collectible and rare books highlighted. And so the other really cool thing about this bookstore is that it has 4 cats.
Yep.
And I don't know what it is about bookstores and cats, but this is a really popular thing. This was even, I just came back from Mexico City. I've been talking about it. There were also bookstores down there with cats. I'm like, what is this?
Cats like to read. They're highly literate. So. And very discerning in their tastes.
So it's a cool bookstore to check out if you're ever in the area or you didn't know about it and you live here. Twice Sold Tales.
Yes, if you're a cat lover, that is the place for you. In fact, my cousin who came to visit loves cats, has like 2 of her own. And she was like, I have to go here. And I was like, let me drop you off and I will continue on my way.
You're like, literally, I will not go in there.
I mean, maybe I will at some point. But the other one we wanted to highlight, also in Cap Hill. And this one, it is, again, very close to where I work, but haven't been, mainly because this place is a technical bookstore. And so on the surface, I'm like, oh, there's probably not a lot in there that I would be interested in reading. But the name of it is Ada's Technical Books and Cafe. So it's another like combo bookstore cafe, which we love. And it's actually named after Ada Lovelace, who is considered to be the world's first computer programmer, which is amazing. And we want to, like, again, celebrate, highlight women. And they're just a self-proclaimed home for geeks, right? And like want to bring out the inner geek in all of us. And so their book collection is very much focused on like STEM related books, and with, trickled in there is
thank you for using a Kelsey. I honestly didn't realize that first.
You didn't. I was like, wait for it. Is she gonna pick up? Okay,
that sounds like the real world.
I know. Just trickled in there, trickled in the STEM related books, you'll also find some fantasy books and some sci-fi books as well. So if that is your thing, it's a really cool spot to check out. If it's not your thing, you probably should as well. I definitely should check it out. But again, just something like that's a little bit more off the beaten path, a little bit out of the ordinary, not your standard bookstore. And again, if you find yourself in the area or if you live here and haven't been, definitely a cool local business, local bookstore to support.
They also have like one cozy chair and it's always taken.
Just
it's a smaller area. It's a smaller area. Like they have like the cafe, they have like the one cozy chair. And then like in the back, they also have like another table that people can sit on or sit at. I want to highlight them too in a way where I think that they also do a good job of highlighting diverse authors, because this is also where I found Black Sun, which is by Rebecca Roanhorse. And it was like one of the highlighted books, And so I was like, oh, I didn't know that she had another book out or whatever. And it's a whole series and I can't wait to get into that. But That's where I found
That's
that one.
awesome. Yeah. I mean, you can tell in the name of the store as well, like the fact that they're celebrating a female computer programmer. So that's definitely really important. I don't believe it's woman owned. I think it's owned by a couple actually.
Oh, okay.
I think it's owned by Danielle and David Holton. So they're the founders and forever geeks. That's what it says on their website. But yeah, so we just wanted to again talk a little bit about like what we love about bookstores and share some kind of local recs for places to check out. I know I say this all the time, but again, we really do want to hear from you. And so if you are in like the Seattle or PNW area and have recommendations, share them. If you're not, share them anyway. Like we have different followers in different parts of the country. And so we can just kind of compile a lovely list of bookstores that we can, do our best to support because we really want it. We want them to stick around. We need our bookstores to stick around. And that's just a great way to spread the love. So let us know. And then also let us know what you love about a good bookstore. Like, do you agree with our list or do you have other qualifications that we didn't, that we overlooked, that we didn't touch on? So let us know about that. But I think that wraps it up for us. We did the thing. I'll quickly do the socials since you did them at the beginning. You did such a lovely job. So we're Lit Vibes Only _podcast on Instagram. And then Lit Vibes Only podcast on YouTube and TikTok. If you feel so inclined, you could send us an email at litvibesonlypodcast@gmail.com.
Say hey.
Just say hey. Again, no one's done it yet. You could be the first. And I'm just going to say this here and now. Whoever sends us the first email, we will send you a sticker. Just like include your mailing address in the body of the email. And we will absolutely send you a free limited edition Lit Vibes Only sticker just because. But yeah, don't forget to rate and review. Like that's super, super important as well. Again, especially if you're just rating, it literally takes less than a second to just click that 5 stars. And we would be deeply appreciative. And otherwise, we will see you next Monday.
See you next Monday. Bye.
Bye.